Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Donna, if you want to do the roll call.
Let me find my paper.
I didn't even see it up on it.
Mr. Newton.
Here.
Mr. Parati.
Here.
Mr. Bruno.
Here.
Mr. Facto's not here. Mr. Randall.
Here. Okay, and we did have two people that passed away in the town. It was Donald and Janet Rabideau. They served the town at the water department for years, and he was a 65-year member of the Mooresville Fire Department, and she had almost as many years as a woman's auxiliary over there. So I'd like to just ask everybody to take a moment of silence in their memory and their service to the town. Thank you. All members have been provided with a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. A motion will be entertained to approve and accept the minutes of the regular meeting November 16th, 2021, provided that there are no additions or changes. I get a motion to accept.
Motion.
And Mr. Bruno. Second.
Second.
And Mr. Parati. Roll call.
Mr. Newton.
Yes.
Mr. Parati.
Yes.
Mr. Bruno.
Yes.
Mr. Randall.
Yes. We do have one addressee tonight. That is our Area 5 legislator, Mr. Rick Potter.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Brings back fond memories. Kind of just a quick running update on the county. Everything seems to be running pretty smooth at the county level. The sales taxes are above projections, so there's more money coming in than they anticipated. We passed the budget just yesterday, and it's a slight decrease in the tax rate, an increase in the budget, but because of additional revenues coming in, it resulted in a decrease in the tax rate, very small. So obviously stayed within the tax cap. The airport is still down due to flights, being not as plentiful as they have been in the past. You can just tell by looking at the parking lot. And now with this new restriction coming in for testing, it's probably going to get a little bit slower with that as well. Plus we probably won't see as many people crossing the border to come down and shop. We have a new FBO, if anybody didn't know, that we appointed or we approved to run the airport operations, and they're a company with about 7 or 8 airports that they are FBO for, and kind of like the next level to what we had. These guys are very professional, and they have some big plans for the airport as far as bringing in different flights, and especially in the area of cargo and military. So they make their money on fuel. They refuel planes when they come in, and that's where their money is made. And they are partnered, are a sub-company of a fuel supplier for aircraft fuel. So they have a pretty good standing in the area. They are also very well respected by Allegiant, who is doing the bulk of our flights. So they came in in a good place as far as that goes. So things are really running very smooth there now. So we're happy about that. There was some issues going on for a while, we've got some new tenants coming into the airport. as well as the old county airport. There's some new tenants coming in there. Right now, there's some variances going on for, and planning meetings going on for the property over at the old airport. But when that happens, it's going to create quite a few jobs between the tenants coming to the airport and the old airport property over on Route 3. So between the two of them, it's a good thing. We're going to see a lot of new jobs coming up, and really some of them very good paying jobs. Health Department is still looking for a replacement for John Canoza. He retired this year, or he's retiring as of December 31st. So he'll be gone. They've been looking for a while. He gave them plenty of notice, but they haven't found the person that they want to appoint to the position yet. We don't do it. It's done by the Board of Health. They're the ones that take the people that come in, interview them, and then decide on who would take that position. They just today at 11 or 10 o'clock, we got the word, or last night we got the word, but they have picked an intern person that's going to just take it temporarily, and so that was finalized today. Schuyler Falls was one of two towns that dropped below the 95% assessment. So with only 2 out of the 13 towns, they went with the adjusted assessment rate for the county. For me to vote against it really didn't make sense, because, and it goes by how many towns are there that are below the assessed rate. Which just what they do is they just adjust it. It becomes an adjusted rate as far as the county is concerned. Highway Department has several bridges planned for the Saranac and Dannemora area. Have we done anything? I was hoping Mike was going to be here on the Mark Road culvert.
No, nothing I'm aware of anyways yet.
I've been talking to the county highway superintendent several times to let us know when, if any money's available, so we can take advantage of any grants that come in, like through Bridge New York. There is some money coming in for infrastructure, and that may fall under one of those. So he's on top of it. He knows that as soon as something's available, he's going to contact you.
Okay.
And that's about it.
I think that's the one I read the file on, that we would have had to put the money up front, and then they would have been reimbursed by a grant if we got the grant. Is that?
What was that, the Mark Road?
Yeah.
No, it was more of a situation where we knew we were responsible should the state back away. Once the project started, we were going to be responsible, and the money that the state had come up with was pretty high. So it was a situation where we felt more comfortable with the having a clause to be able to back away if we needed to, because the state was not going to be putting up the money. And when that happened, the county highway department dropped us from the list of bridges, but it'll come around again.
For the grants. Yeah.
Yep, it'll come around.
Hey Rick, do you know I hear all kinds of things, do you know exactly where we are with the border as far as crossing, coming in and going back up?
The only thing I've heard is through the chamber, and I'm liaison, is that the testing will be required even for 24-hour test within crossing either way, and even on short-term stays.
So anybody that comes across has to get tested first.
Right, has to. So it almost completely closes the border. It's essentially closing the border back again.
And it hasn't been that way recently, or not?
It opened up for a little bit
Okay.
without the testing requirement.
So when does that go into effect? Has it already gone into effect? Soon, or you don't have to look?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it's soon, if
And
not.
that's both sides
It's not
are requiring
immediate.
it?
What's that?
Both sides are going to require the same thing?
Both sides. Yeah. That's been the frustrating thing on the
County airport, it never been out.
yeah. I mean, if somebody's traveling long term, if they're going for 3 months or something, to pay for the test and everything, it's not quite as burdensome than if they're coming down just for the day or for a weekend. Now, if they're coming down for a weekend to pay for a test before and pay for a test again, it doesn't make sense. You know, it's too expensive. Anything they save by coming down and shopping out here is.
So if they come one day, they'll have to pay for both ways, different tests?
I think it's just one test if they come down for both ways. The test has to be within that 24-hour period. So if they leave, they go down to Florida and then they come back from Florida, they have to test again before they go in.
Got you. Thanks.
Isn't there a date on that too, that they put out there, Rick?
It might be. I'm trying to.
It was only about, what, maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, they opened it up at all. So essentially, it's been closed for almost 2 years because I know all the boats are just sitting on shore down there for 2 years ago. They've lost 2 seasons and
Yep. It's 2 years.
it's hurt the local economy. I mean, we have a lot of trade with our Canadian neighbors, that's for sure.
The testing requirements started today, December 21st. Returning Canadians who have come to the U.S. will once again need a negative PCR test, even if they have visited for less than 72 hours. The PCR test must be administered in the U.S. This is both frustrating and a step backward. The Chamber continues to engage dialogue with officials and partners on both sides of the border.
So that means even 24 hours, you could have a test both ways then.
Right.
Yeah, if you can find one at
Yeah.
local Walgreens or what have you, you know what
If
I
you
mean?
can find them, yeah.
They essentially shut down, basically. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
well,
Rick.
thank you.
Appreciate the update.
Yep.
Thanks. Communication petitions. All right, I'm not gonna read this whole thing here tonight. I am going to give every councilman a copy of this. We did receive a complaint, so we're gonna look into the complaint, and after we do some investigation, then we will, if needed, take whatever corrective action.
Donna Niebuhr.
I received it.
Mike, get you that too. Okay, look at it. All right. And like I said, I just got it at 4:20 this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to thoroughly review it. I know you guys haven't either, so we'll take the time to review it and then take the appropriate steps as we feel needed. All right? Okay, everybody got a copy of the monthly reports. I will entertain a motion to file.
Motion.
Mr. Newman,
Second.
Mr. Ferrari.
Mr.
Roll call.
Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
All right, Councilman time.
Receipts.
No receipt.
Oh, I lost. I'm trying to jump ahead too far, sorry about that. Alright. Receipts, town clerk, $845. Macy Lane Water, $96.98. Morrisville Water, $650.50. Woods Mills Water, $78.10. Justice Barber for the month of November, $778. Justice Van Nortwick for November, $1,349. Cash receipts, $18,044.61. Charter Communications third quarter franchise fees, and $34.97. Orleans County Sheriff's Department refunded serving for paper codes. The codes office.
Motion to accept the receipts.
Mr. Newman,
Second.
Mr. Bruno,
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
yes. Okay, minutes of the planning board dated 11/21/21.
11/2/21.
11/2, boy, I'm having trouble tonight. 11/2/21. Motion to file,
Motion.
Mr. Parati,
Second.
Mr. Newman,
Mr. Newton?
Koval.
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes?
Mr. Randall?
Yes. There are no zoning board minutes. Department reports, where it skipped to originally, councilman?
Any planning board notes?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, there were
Oh,
none.
zoning board notes.
Yeah, the zoning board.
What?
Zoning
Both,
board.
No,
right?
there were none.
Okay.
We did the planning board, 11/2/21. Thanks for the correction on the date. Councilman, anybody? I do have, unfortunately, Mr. Facto was unable to be here tonight. He sent me a few things that he wanted to ask in his stay. Spending money from the American Rescue Plan, as well as we all know, our town has received over $560,000 for our share of the federal funding. Half of that sum, $280,000, has already been received. Those numbers are a little off, but I am asking the town board to appoint an advisory committee comprised of residents and possibly a town board member to meet and develop some ideas where this funding could be spent. Many residents who reside outside of the 3 water districts would like to see a portion of the spending beneficial to their needs also. So again, we can look at that. Mr. Facto and I did have a quite lengthy conversation last week on this. I'm not opposed to putting a couple people from our constituents in on that